So I'll come to you for the Midnight Manna to talk about how love never loses. And I'll tell you, this is a scary thing. And most of the time, love has been this thing for me. It's been this beautiful thing for me because, like I said, I love love. You know what I'm saying? I love the way it tastes. I love the way it smells. I love everything about it. You know, I'm a Libra, so Libras are in love with love, okay? Not only are we in love with love, but we just love the love stories. I get all emotional. I watch the same things over and over again. You know, it comes out of my pores. It's something that I just flow with. You know, I can flow with it. You know, I love R&B because of love. You know, but on the other hand, I done had some roadblocks in my life, been in some relationships that wasn't right, you know, met some jokers or two, got into some things that I thought was love, but wasn't. And so love can be this scary thing, you know, to even discuss, to even think about, to even ponder on. First of all, it deserves all the credit because if you know anything about true love, a true agape love, it's all empowering. You know, it's all encompassing. It makes you feel like you're full, like your cup runneth over. You know, it's a beautiful, amazing thing, right? But we also give it too much power in one ways because we blame everything on love. And some things are not love. Some things are just people's character. So sometimes we take love and then we mix it up with trauma and abuse and, you know, our old situations and old relationships and the things our mama did to us and the things our daddy did to us and, you know, other things that happened to us that weren't right. And then we mix it into this little circle and then we try to take it out there and then we interpret this to be love when really it's our own stuff that has nothing to do with love. The first thing is that we got to choose quality over quantity. For most of you know, I was in a marriage for over 10 years and we were together for over 15 years. And towards the end of that marriage, I was like, I don't care what this man does. You know, I'm not going to leave. I'm going to stay with him. We got these 3 kids in our home. You know, we going to be okay. And every anniversary at the end, the last couple of years of our marriage, I was posting pictures like, I love this man. He loves me. And everything was looking good. You know, he was handsome. I'm fine. You know, we were doing good, you know. And so I felt like, wow, you know, I need to keep up this persona. I need to keep up this image. Okay, because I need to show people that we made it. What I was choosing to do was choose quantity over quality. I was measuring the years I was with that man being more important than my own happiness, being more important than my own joy. Maybe I had 2 good years. Maybe I had 2 good years, right? But I was willing to put out a fake smile and a kissy kiss here and, oh, ain't my husband fine, and putting things on, you know, Facebook and wherever else to make people feel like I was living a real life with a real love, even though I knew that inside I was miserable. So be careful. We all get caught up in love sometimes, right? Gosh, the celebrities look like they looking so fine. They having perfect babies and, you know, picket fences. And we like, some of us single mothers and single women, and they're like, when he coming? We waiting. Time is ticking. Okay, I know you said Boaz was on the way, but is he on the express train? The planes ain't even running right now, so don't know what's going on there, right? I feel you, sis. I feel you, brother. You know what I'm saying? It gets impatient while waiting for good quality love, right? Many of us can have anybody. We can have Joe and Smo and, you know, Rick and Dick. We can have whoever we want, right? But the truth is that we get to a point in love where you want to choose quality over quantity. So important. I can't settle for just anything. I gotta choose somebody who gonna love me the way I love. And that brings me to my second point. Don't choose somebody that does not have the capacity to love to the depth that you do. Nothing worse. You ever buy a cup and, you know, it has a hole in it and you pour some juice in it and the juice just comes out of the cup? Well, that's what happens with love. When you got all this love to give and you just pouring your love into people with holes, guess what? You ain't getting nothing back. You can't get nothing back from that person. They don't have the capacity to love. You have to recognize that. Don't blame that on love. That's your fault. That's your fault that you didn't recognize that this person could not love the way you did. I'm not being self-righteous. You know how many times I've poured my love into people who couldn't love me back because I'm thinking I got a superpower, right? I got a superpower. I can love everybody. Love conquers all. And yes, while that's true, okay, people have to choose to love, right? And so some people don't choose to love. So even though I was out there thinking my love was conquering all, they thinking like, thank you. Thank you. I'll take this and I'll put this in my pocket. Thank you. Thank you. And what happened to me? I wound up empty. And then I wound up cursing out love. And that's not fair to love. That's not fair because that was my fault. Okay? So make sure that the person has an equal capacity to love you. It will save you a lot of frustration, a lot of disappointment. Stop falling in love with these emotionally unavailable men and women. You know when they're unemotional. You can tell after a while. Okay? Wait, let's just let them go. Let them be with other people who's unemotional like them. Okay? For people like us that love deep and hard, we need to find people that have the capacity to love us the way we love them. Okay? The third point I want to say is that we need to stop measuring our love by other people's standards. We don't know about social media, like I said, is that we don't really know what's going on in these people's homes. We don't really know. I told you I was a master faker with my ex-husband, right? He looked good, I look good, we look good, kids look good, we looked like everything was fine. But people that knew us, that was close to us, knew that we were living in our own personal hells. Right? So don't measure your love by other people's standards. Sometimes, I find that social media, internet, and all these articles on relationships, they can really be a mind-boggling trick. All right? Because maybe your husband is a great man and he, brings you breakfast in bed every morning and he does what he's supposed to do. He helps you out with the kids and, every now and then he'll cook for you. He's a good man and you love him for that. But then all of a sudden you start reading these articles, you start watching social media and you're like, you know what? Keisha, got this from her man. Why you can't do that from me? Honey, you got to know what you got in your house. Don't measure your relationship by somebody else. You're going to lose that good man over standards that you didn't even have before because you're looking at other people's standards for their relationship. If your relationship is working and it's working for you, kudos. Okay, don't break what is not broken. All right? Don't break what is not broken. Stop loving through other people's standards. All right? Listen, I was in a relationship one time when I was young. One of my first love with this guy, he bought me ding dongs. Ding dongs are my favorite, like chocolate with the vanilla in the middle. So good. Yeah, he bought me ding dongs. And let me tell you something. I remember that over anything because he went out his way to get those ding dongs for me. And the way he put it in like a heart and all that, that was probably one of the best gifts still. Right? And if I would have, talked to somebody else, ding dongs, that ain't nothing. He ain't spend nothing on them ding dongs. I could have talked myself out of something real good. Right? Because that's what he could afford at the time. But when he got older and when our relationship matured, he was able to buy me a diamond or two. Right? Because I appreciated the little things. So don't measure yourself by other people's standards. Another thing people say is I always hear this, love is blind. Love is blind. No, love ain't blind. You knew who that person was when you first got with them. That you tried to overlook it. You thought maybe things would change. But love is not blind. Matter of fact, love is the most honest, open, realest thing that you'll ever see. Okay? Love says, you know what? You can get up in the morning with your hair looking crazy. I know you're going to have bad days. You can get up with an attitude. Love says, you're going to do these things that get on my nerves and that really drive me bananas. But you know what? I love you anyway. Because love sees your flaws and says, you know what? That's who I want to be with. Her. With the big nose and big forehead and, brilliant minds and, sexy too. That's what love says. Okay? So love sees you flaws and all. All this love blind is, you blind. But love, honey, love is not blind. Okay? If you are blind, it's because something's missing or something is broken. Okay? When people get out of relationships and they get dogged out, they always say, well, love is blind. No. You're broken. Something's missing. Don't blame it on love. All right? The other thing I want to say is that, we hear today about loving yourself, right? Everybody's talking about it. It's a self-care thing, right? Love yourself. It's a cliche of the moment. This great quote by Jennifer Lewis. She wrote this book called Black. She's a Black mother of Hollywood. She said, love yourself so love won't be a stranger when it comes. And I thought that quote was so powerful. Love yourself so love won't be a stranger when it comes. And even though that's so true, there was a time in my life, especially when I came through my divorce, where I didn't even know where to start loving myself. I didn't even know what love looked like anymore. Yes, I had the love of my parents and people who have been there for me, but I just didn't know in a relationship what I was supposed to look for love. So you know what I did? I sorted out. If you don't know what love is and you can't find a way to love yourself, go find the love that you're looking for, not only in a relationship, but in yourself. I started hanging around people who love themselves and seeing what they did. And I said, wait a minute, they don't mind spending time with themselves. I started, and I was taking notes too. Like, okay, this is what people do when they love themselves. I started hanging out with people with high self-esteem, people that had confidence in themselves, people that really loved to be with themselves and knew who they were. Right? That helped me. I started hanging out with people that had good relationships. Look at one of my pastors, Apostle Stevens. They have a great relationship. I wanted to see how he treated her, how she, opens the sugar and puts it in his tea. And, she does it lovingly, and how he always said, oh, honey, you look great today. I see Sin, my girlfriend Sin and her husband, and how he's always inviting of her friends when she wants to have get-togethers, and how he's always encouraging her and sending little love notes and commenting on her posts, So I started taking note of the kind of love I wanted from what I saw. I think those little movies that they show on TV is not a good representation of love too, okay? Because I started looking and being like, okay, let me see. Okay, that was a nice one. That helped me not to be a copycat of someone else's love. But it helped me develop what I wanted in my own love. It helped me develop what I wanted and to learn how to love myself. And the statement is true. Until you can love yourself, you can't love nobody else. You don't even have a start in place, right? So I had to learn to love myself. What were the things that I was going to accept in my life? What were the things I was no longer going to accept in my life? How was I going to let love in? When I began to realize I began to love myself, when I began to say no to people that I've wanted to say no to for years, but felt like I couldn't because I was such a people pleaser. No. Oh, Chalet, you starting to love yourself, boo. All right, you starting to value who you were. The last point I want to say is that love emanates through me. And I feel like love can emanate through all of you. It's so easy for us to love people with our last names, right? It's easier at least, right? Because family can be a trip. It's easy for us to love our children, for those of us that mothers and fathers, right? Because they come from us, right? So it's an easier thing. It's hard to love people who despise us, who hate us, who talk about us, who are jealous of us, who betrays us, who treat us wrong. That's a hard thing to do. But when I realized I had really conquered love, is when I loved those that I knew didn't love me. When I made the conscious choice to love those that didn't love me. I learned it from my mother. It's a lesson that she taught me when I was young, before I even started having relationships. I watched people treat my mother wrong for jealousy, for whatever reason. And when these people would get sick or something would happen to them, I watched her go and take flowers to their hospital beds and homes. I watched her every Christmas. We would stay up and we would wrap gifts for everybody in the church. Almost every person that she sang in the choir with, we'd be wrapping gifts for them, in the choir rehearsals and the pastor. She wanted to make sure everybody had a gift. And I'd be looking at some of these names. I'm like, some of these people don't even like you, Ma. And she's like, it doesn't matter. We're going to be good to them anyway. So my mom taught me what it was from a young age to love people who didn't love her. And at a point, that was a hard lesson to learn, because I was like, forget these people. They don't love me. I don't love you either. It's easy for us to be tit for tat. You don't love me. I don't love you. Okay? But what I realized is that that's not what love is. That's not how we conquer love, right? So I wanted to conquer love. So in conquering love, I had to love those who were unlovable, love those who didn't love me. And that doesn't mean I have to be in their space, right? And it doesn't mean that I have to call them or have a relationship with them. That just means that I have emptied my heart of any hate. So the two things I do when somebody hurts me is the first thing I do is I ask God to help me forgive them, because I know forgiveness is a process. And the second thing I do is that I say, God, I choose to love. I choose to love regardless. And so those are words I live by. I live by love. Every day I pray to attract the love that I deserve, right? I pray to attract love in its purest form, in the form and the word the way it is. So maybe I'm single right now. Maybe, you know what I'm saying, I'm quarantining myself. Maybe I get lonely with the kids in the house. You know, maybe sometimes my mind wanders to like times when I've experienced love. Maybe I get sappy over those old love movies. But one thing I know is that as long as love, it comes out of my pores, I will never really be lonely. Second thing I know is that love is going to be attracted to me because I give it out. That's it. No choice. It got to come back to me. So I'm in expectation of love all the time, of true love, of real love, of agape love. So yes, we can choose losers, right? And there are losers in this game of life. But love never loses. I want to hear what you think about it. Comment, share, like. And remember, stay blessed and choose every day to love.